Methodical coding is what happens when you type a massive prompt into an AI tool, hit enter, and cross your fingers, hoping the machine builds your application perfectly. When you let an AI agent make every architectural decision, you stop being an engineer and become a passenger. Because AI agents can misunderstand instructions and compound their own errors quickly, you end up with a codebase you do not recognize and cannot fix. Instead, you need a precise 6-step feature-focused workflow. Think of yourself as the strict architect and the AI as your eager intern. You give it highly specific, isolated tasks, and it executes them under your supervision. To execute this workflow, you only need 2 prerequisites. First, an initialized development environment for your application. Second, a local agentic tool like Claude Code or Cursor, running directly in your terminal or IDE. Building software in the AI era still requires rigorous engineering. It demands structured delegation rather than a blind abdication of your logic to a machine. Step 1 is preparing an agent-friendly codebase. Before you allow the AI to write any logic, your environment needs to be structured so the agent understands its boundaries. You establish these boundaries using codebase contracts. Contracts are explicit rules defined by your testing frameworks and linters. Linters are tools that analyze your code to flag programming errors and enforce stylistic consistency. These contracts force the AI to align with your specific standards. If your initial code is a mess, the AI will read that mess and assume it is the standard. It will magnify and replicate your existing bad design patterns across every new file it generates. Step 2 is writing the feature spec file. This is a dedicated document where you write out exact, unambiguous instructions for the single feature you want to build. This document follows a rigid architecture, broken into 4 distinct sections: the overall goal, specific database changes, required UI components, and strict acceptance criteria. An AI agent cannot build a reliable feature without this kind of rigid blueprint. Ambiguity in your instructions leads directly to tangled, unmanageable code. Now we move to step 3, isolated implementation. You prompt your agent to read the spec file you just created. You explicitly instruct it to build only that specific feature, forbidding it from touching any peripheral systems or unrelated code. The AI then generates the required schema updates, API routes, and interface components. It does this entirely within its isolated sandbox. Step 4 is enforcing your contract using unit tests. Unit tests are automated scripts that check if individual, isolated pieces of your code function correctly. You compel the AI to write and execute unit tests for its generated code to expose any flaws. The AI uses data from failed tests to rewrite and autocorrect its logic. It repeats this loop until the contract is fulfilled. This isolated test enforcing is the only mechanical safeguard you have. It prevents an AI agent from silently breaking your existing features while it generates new ones. Now, step 5 is the sub-agent audit. You open a fresh context window. You task this new sub-agent to review the newly written code for hidden security vulnerabilities and design consistency. Finally, we reach step 6, updating the changelog. You prompt the AI to immediately document its own completed work. You also ensure it notes any new environment variables it created during the process. If your readmes and changelogs fall out of date with your actual codebase, you create a massive risk. The active code and the static documentation will feed conflicting instructions to the next AI session, confusing the agent and breaking the application. Perfectly synchronized documentation firmly anchors your project. It ensures that future AI sessions do not misinterpret the historical architecture of your codebase. By following this rigorous process, your feature deploys cleanly into the live environment. You have moved away from blindly typing into a prompt box. You are now systematically designing, isolating, enforcing, and auditing your code. To implement this exact framework in your next project, download the template files provided in the description below. Stop vibe coding, embrace the role of the strict architect, and take permanent control over your software development.